Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Deeply Rooted Business Podcast. First, Jess, how are you feeling? Happy Friday.
I'm good. I am a little on the lower energy side, but this is one week where I've almost finally feel like I've gotten caught up with all my client work. So I have nothing that I'm pushing off to next week. So that feels good. But I also just need like a real weekend rest because I've been doing a lot of like hybrid work slash weekends. And I think I'm going to turn completely off this weekend. What about you?
Oh, I love that. I am a data nerd in my personal life too, where I have my Aura ring that tracks like my sleep, my heart rate variability. And it is currently a 59 as a readiness score out of 100. So I'm a little low too. So after this, I'm going to sleep, probably gonna take a nap, maybe read a good book or something. But an offline weekend sounds exactly like what I need. Yeah, we're going to be talking about a pretty fun topic today. I think this topic is something everybody can probably relate with, resonate with. And it's regardless if you're a launcher, so if you're like launching consistently, or if you're more service provider mode where maybe you are evergreen, consistently filling your buckets, marketing your offers to crickets is probably like the number one fear that a lot of business owners like really struggle with. It's something that happens to a lot of us where we feel like we're shouting into the void. And it's something that Jess and I both do when our clients start to work with us, which is really like drill into why your offers aren't selling and what you can actually do. So we decided to share this episode because we want to make sure that we can help everybody across the whoever's listening. So today we're going to be sharing 4 reasons why your offers aren't selling. We're going to give you a few remedies per reason to help you like shake things up in your offer suite and really get those crickets out of here and do a little pest control in your business. So,
Yeah, I think
ready?
yeah, this is such an important topic because what I often see, and you can tell me if you see the same, is like we put something out in the world and it doesn't sell the way we anticipated it would, and we scrap it completely and then start creating new offers. I have been guilty of this. I have seen my clients try to sell a course one time, it doesn't sell, they scrap it and go back to the drawing board completely. Where usually the problem is not the offer, it's going to be one of these 4 things that we're going to get into. So let's get into reason number 1. And the first reason is that there is no demand for this offer from your particular audience. So this could either mean your audience isn't large enough to demand this audience, or maybe you haven't been putting out the right content to attract the audience that would be right for this offer. So one question to ask yourself before you're trying to design a new offer, or whether you're gauging whether this offer is something that you want to move forward to or with, is, have you been asked about this topic before? I think that's just such a simple question that get like skipped over a lot, because I think a
Yeah.
lot of times as a creator, we want to create what we want to create, but we actually want to create what the market is asking for. And oftentimes it's something that's a lot more simpler than what we even like could dream up ourselves.
Yeah. I think the just reverse engineering or kind of reframing this in your mind of saying, is this a need in my current audience? And I know we've talked about this in past episodes, I think in the launching one, where sometimes it does feel like exciting to have an idea and run with it because you live in your business like so in the weeds that you know things, you're so much closer to it than everybody else is. But like having a validated message and a validated offer really starts by responding to what your audience is telling you and not forcing your audience to change behaviors or adapt in a certain way that maybe they're not quite ready for. So definitely make sure your offer is validated and make sure that there's actually a need in the space for it.
So just some questions that we laid out for you guys to ask yourself to gauge whether the offer is the issue is, have you been asked about this topic before? Do people care about what you're talking about in the course? If it's a course, does this topic often come up in conversation? You could even do a little reconnaissance and go into some Facebook groups where your ideal customer hangs out and see if this question is popping up. And then the second part is, do the people want this information from you specifically? Are you viewed as the expert that can help them solve the problem related to that topic? Or are you just selling people what you think they need? So,
Yeah. And obviously, if you can't tell, the remedy for this, just based off of the questions we've just asked, is market research. So, really having that clarity of your actual audience and doing market research in a way that really helps you reverse engineer the hard work, which is coming up with the problem and the awareness journey and all of that. But just what are some ways that you can use market research to remedy this current problem?
yeah. So actually, I was doing this with one of my clients this week. Is that we sent out a survey to his entire list. We also sent it out on his social media platforms, and we had a little incentive so that people could wanted to take it. We gave them a whole week to do it, and we asked them some of the questions that we really wanted to know about them. What are they struggling with as related to his topic? What is their biggest like roadblock or obstacle? What do they want to learn from you? What are they hoping to achieve by either using your service or taking your course? We even asked them some like budgeting because we've been having some trouble nailing down price point. What would you pay to get this problem solved? And gave them a bunch of different price points. And we also asked them, maybe not related to the offer itself, but just trying to like gauge our marketing efforts. Like, where did you find me? That sort of thing. Are there
Mhm.
any other questions that you'd love to include on survey?
Yeah, and we all know that we are survey junkies over here, which I think was the name of an actual company. Probably is, but we love surveys because they do provide so much information. I want you to think of like when you're applying the survey, like what is the lowest hanging fruit of information that you're trying to receive. So Jess and I have talked about types of surveys we would typically send in launches. A post launch survey to non purchasers would have questions a little bit more along the lines of why did you not buy? What was the number one factor as to why you did? But also, I think Jess has mentioned in previous episodes of doing one to actual purchasers and finding out why they did buy and then comparing those two pieces of information. I always like to approach surveys from the sense that there's a point in the person's journey that you are entering, like that they're entering with and encountering this survey with. So if it's like in Jess's case, where we're just trying to learn more about this person's email list, it's going to be a little bit more of a catch-all and a little bit more of a exploratory one rather than a super, super targeted one. So surveys are just fabulous pieces. They're fabulous tools that you can get into. And you don't even need like a fancy survey tool to really tap into the power of market research. If you are on Instagram and you want to survey those people, you can easily put up a little question sticker in your stories and ask, what's your number one struggle? Or what's your frustration? And kind of lead your closest, kind of like lowest hanging fruit audience, like your story viewers, to ask you questions there as well. So don't think of it as this like super complex tool that you're going to need to buy and you have to pay for and structure and do all of this. Simply just getting in front of your audience and capturing that information is so powerful.
Yeah. And there's free things like Google Forms. If you're already paying for a type form, you can use that for this particular survey we sent out this week. Kajabi has an assessment feature in it. So we just use that. So the next way to market research, which I've been in this rabbit hole lately, is Google Trends or Google Keywords. I have been all in the Uber Suggest. I don't know if you've heard of that company before, but
Oh,
there's a company called Uber Suggest and Answer the Public. Uber Suggest just bought Answer the Public. But basically, what Answer the Public is, you can type in your keyword topic idea, and it will give you this little graph of all the questions that people are typing into Google and asking about it. So that is really useful. And it gives you ranks like how much has this been searched for? And then what is the competition for that? Obviously, for a course thing, like you would want to see, even if there's a lot of competition, if there's a lot of searches for it, that definitely says that there's a need for what the service that you're trying to put out there or the course. And then another way that I found this really useful is sometimes making sure that you're, as an expert, you're not always using the same language that
Mm.
your customer is using. So this one particular customer, we're like, what is someone that's not in this industry even calling this when they're searching for it? And that's really what we're trying to figure it out. So I was able to go on to Uber Suggest and you're able to see the related words to what I typed in. And I was like, oh, that makes more sense. This is how people are actually searching for this. So we can make sure that when we're using the messaging in his offer, which we'll talk about messaging, I think a little bit later in this episode, that we're matching that. But you can use Google Search Console. I think that's a free tool. Uber Suggest has a free option. I really love that right now for just doing keyword research. Are there any other platforms that you love to use, Rachel?
Typeform, things like that. To me, a survey is a survey. You can even have it. I always love doing surveys inside of emails by simply just like using links to your advantage. You can reverse engineer a survey where you're just saying, select which bucket you fall into, and that can tell you a lot more about your audience than just creating some type of a catch-all newsletter. But I know I think you pretty much covered a lot of the platforms that I typically recommend and all of that. And I think this is really like what Jess was talking about with the Uber suggests and Google trends and all of that, is that you don't need to have an audience in order to do market research. Like you can easily explore the ideal audience that you might want to get into and build out market research in a way that maybe you don't have access or you're a baby business owner just starting. But yeah.
All right. So let's move on to reason number two. And this could be your potential leads don't understand the value of your offer. So if your sales page is lacking clear messaging, like I was giving that example with my other client, or confuses your customer, you're definitely going to be leaving some money on the table. And it's important to spend some time getting clear on who your ideal customer is and how your offer uniquely helps them. So, Rachel, what do we have to say about that?
Mm. I think this is so much more of a awareness funnel than it is this is a easy fix kind of thing. But I definitely think like understanding this is like moving people into different awareness buckets from where they're at. If they don't understand the value of your offer, like understanding they're not solution aware yet, they're probably still in unaware or problem aware from a marketing perspective. So, really asking yourself, does your messaging communicate the value of your audience learning your content? Does your messaging communicate how their life can transform? Certain things like that, where do they connect closer with your audience? Are they able to identify themselves in your content? All of that. So, really understanding that not everybody starts at solution aware. Business owners have 125 things thrown at them of what they should be doing, and not everything is the right solution for them. So if you are servicing other business owners, or even if you're in the health and wellness space, understanding that like there's 100 million solutions out there, people may not know why yours is the actual one that they need. So starting at that very beginning part of the solutions or the awareness phase of saying, are you even aware you have a problem? Are you aware, and taking it baby steps as well? So really breaking it down into that sense. So what is the remedy that you would jump
Well,
into for their problem?
word here. I think people go a little off course with this because I was thinking about how I had audited some of those sales pages for you for your clients. And I think one of the main things that I see with sales page is people are focused on features or even like just the name of the course. I think people spend so much time trying to figure out like the perfect name of the course and they want to put it right up at the top of the sales page. I'm like, nobody cares about what your course's name is. They care what the outcome is after they invest the money and they invest the time into taking that course or in that offer. So making sure that in your messaging on your sales page and also like wherever else you're marketing this, that you're focused on outcome based messaging. And if you are highlighting features, that you're tying it to benefits as well, because people don't want to know everything they're going to learn. That sounds like a lot of work learning. They want to know what's going to happen after they learn. So I think that's like a way that maybe people don't understand the value of your offer, because you're just listing a laundry list of the features and everything that's included in your list and not tying that to what's in it for the person. So I think the remedy for this is just have a friend to look at your current sales page for clarity. Can they easily identify who it's like to offer? Like, my boyfriend has no idea what I do. And like, look at my stuff. Do you know the type of person that this would be best for? Do you know what the outcome that I'm trying to provide is? That sort of thing. I think that's like one of the easiest ways to go, is to pull in somebody that doesn't know anything about it, or getting someone else to audit your page for you. Yeah. What else do you have? Any other?
I always suggest to any chance I can, I'm like, "Hey, can you take a look at this? Can you take a look at this?" And if you don't have that, like, really, I just posted a fabulous video about letting the robots do everything for us. Drop your sales page copy into ChatGPT or some type of AI and have it ask you questions and identify gaps in there as well. I've seen some really good prompts provided in like the online space that you could easily, if you don't have a biz bestie, which we want to be your biz bestie, let us know. We're here. But if you do not have one, you can easily allow the robots to hold that gap for you right now. But yeah, clarifying your message is the number one remedy to really understanding or really getting your potential leads to understanding the value of your offer. Reason number 3, I think I a little jumped the gun on this one here. So reason number 3 that your offers are selling is that there's an awareness gap for your ideal client. So like I said before, if they are not solution aware, they most likely won't be buying. But really understanding and being able to ask yourself, do you have an established, clear, like step-by-step journey that will take someone from stranger to customer? It's really, and I think now more so than ever in the online, like growing a business in the online space, like you really have to distinguish like leads from followers, because you could have someone who just loves your content and loves you as a business owner, but will never actually buy from you. So even bringing in a layer there too to shake out those actual like customers and leads from the people who are going to be just new to your space or just hanging around just because they like to consume. I think that's really important. And then being able to say, have you created like a proactive, like promotional schedule to talk about? Do people know about your offers? That's one of the biggest gaps. And especially from an email list perspective, and people say, I don't know, like my list isn't growing. I'm like, do people know you have an email list? Do people know you have a lead magnet that they could possibly be opting into? And it's the same exact problem when it comes to your actual offers. Do people know you sell an audit, or do people know you sell services that don't require monthly retainers and can be a quick project? If people don't know, how do you expect them to
I,
actually?
yeah, I think people underestimate how loud and distracting
Mhm.
online is actually is. Because, yeah, you've gotta say it a bunch of times. You can't just say it once and be like, "Oh, nobody bit, so I guess that's offers out the window." It's no, you've gotta say it at least, what were we talking about?
Until you're sick of it. Say it
Like,
until you're
I think
sick of
it
it.
was me. She's very sick of selling her offer, but it's working because she keeps talking about it. So, yes, keep selling it until you're sick of it. All right. So the fourth reason is that your potential lead just may not be able to afford to invest at this time. This can either be time or money. They see the value in what you have to offer, but they just can't afford it at this time, or they don't have the capacity in their calendar to dedicate the amount of time to be able to get the transformation that you're providing. And this is a reason that we are actually okay with, because just
Mhm.
because they can't afford it right now, or it's a no right now, doesn't mean that they won't be able to afford it down the line. And that's why you should launch and relaunch your offers. People's situations change. And if they truly see the value in what they're offering, they will find a way to save up, to work with you. or they will make sure that they block off the time. I know that when I'm like looking at a course, it takes me several months, even a year sometimes to decide that now is the right time to jump into that. That's perfectly okay. And that's part of ethical selling. I don't think we're trying to like trick anybody with scarcity, like this is never coming back and like all of that messaging that you see. We don't want those people in our courses to begin with. One, if they can't afford it, then that's just not cool. But two, if they can't afford to invest the time in it, then they're not going to get the result. And then they're going to feel really crappy about investing in your course. So you don't want those people in there if it's not the right time for them to invest. I'm sure you agree, Rachel.
I completely agree, and I'm the same way. It takes me a good year to, like, actually jump into a program that I'm, like, really interested in, and that's because my personal life is busy. My, client workload is heavy. If you haven't heard our capacities episode, I think that's a great reminder into this, where there's so many reasons that you shouldn't invest, and if the one reason why you're saying I need to is because someone's throwing out scarcity messaging or urgency along those ends, like really root into yourself from that perspective. But from a lead perspective, just remember that there are humans on the other end of your marketing, and life is life in for everyone. And it doesn't just stop because you're in a launch. And so having a little bit of empathy really rooted into your sales strategy to understand that stuff can happen. I know so many times in the post launch surveys, we've gotten that feedback of, oh, I'm so ready to jump into it the next time. I've been saving up, or I'm clearing my schedule for this and this. And it just validates that they weren't quite ready for this round, but they're ready for the next one. And I think that it's a big reminder to not ghost your launch list or your prospects, regardless of the reason why they didn't buy. So really focusing on nurturing, building that relationship, because then that decide like the time that comes to open that card again or to have a space be filled, it's going to be more of a hell yes than like an ick feeling of you didn't even talk to me after I didn't buy. So how dare you? Why do you think I'm going to give you my money kind of things? Yeah, definitely. We could go on so many tangents when it comes to the social or the ethical selling aspect of it. But just remember, we're all humans on the other end of the marketing message.
All right. So there you have our 4 reasons why your offers aren't selling and what shifts to make. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to tune in to next week's episode where we'll be talking about how grow with grace and prevent your business from imploding on itself. If you found any of these tips helpful, be sure to share this episode with your business bestie and then make sure to follow us. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Shoot us a message. We want to hear from you. Let us know if you need a sales page audit. Let us know if you've got an offer not selling. We'd love to hop in and help you out, and make sure that you follow along so you don't miss an episode. Until next week, we're
We're for you.